Hey folks, welcome back to Crypto Cash. This is your one-stop shop for everything cryptocurrency. I wanted to go ahead and discuss with you here what we're going to be doing is just looking at a technical analysis for Burger. Yes, you heard that right. Burger is the name, and it's essentially short for Burger Swap, and it's a unique one, of course. Just recently hit the Binance market, and we're going to be using the Binance application here, the trading view, of course, to go ahead and take a closer look. But just know there's no fundamentals here. We're just looking at the technical charts only to make an informed decision on a possible good entry point for you, as well as how to make additional little bits here and there in this type of climate. Okay, so it's going to be interesting, going to be awesome. Be sure to stick around to the end. I'll have my projections as well for this. But before we get started, I wanted to recommend you always do your own research. This is for educational purposes only, and I'm not a financial advisor. But I have been in the industry for a very, very long time, and I can tell you that this is something that I'm passionate about. I love analyzing technical charts. Okay. So one last thing, down below there's a link in the description for $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager, as well as a link to our community through Telegram. So please feel free to reference that. I think you'll learn a thing or two as well if you come in there and just absorb information and engage and just get get as much insight as you can possible. We got some awesome people in there. All right, well, let's go ahead and check it out without further ado. Let's get right to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Burger. Let's go ahead and get started with that. Does anyone else laugh when they say the word burger? I don't know. For some reason, that word just makes me crack up. It could be the fact that I'm late in the day and I've been working for a long time. Perhaps that's it. Either way, let's go ahead and take a look at Burger Swap and see what's going on here. First of all, I always like to preface with Bitcoin and Ethereum, see what's going on there first, just so we can identify kind of what's the overall market trend is doing, so we can see how it's influencing these coins, specifically altcoins, because they have a tendency of getting raked over the coals or just doing really awesome based on those other things. So Bitcoin, this is the first one here. We're looking at just the 4-hour chart to get perspective. And in case you weren't aware, Bitcoin had a pretty major sell-off here recently today. I wouldn't say it's dire straits, but it went down a full, 8% in a 24-hour period. So not quite where we want to be, but good news is it tested the 100-day moving average, bounced off, came back up. As well as the fact that it's still under the 200-day moving average, which is roughly 57,000. That is our major support and resistance level. So we want to get above that and stay above that in order for the market to kind of get a lot better and to do what we want it to do. So we'll see what happens there, but that essentially occurred recently. Ethereum took a hit as well. So just to quickly touch on this, you can see Ethereum took a dive as well, but not as bad because Bitcoin right around here at this point was selling off pretty major. So what people are doing, they're getting out of Bitcoin, jumping into Ethereum. But eventually it gets too much, the strain gets too much, and people are like, okay, I'm going to sell my Ethereum too because the price is overextended. Right? So that's what we're seeing here, a pretty massive sell-off here for Ethereum. And once again, this is a 4-hour chart, so these are 4-hour bars. Let's go ahead and take a look at Burger now. So Burger is kind of taking a hit, but also still doing pretty well, all things considered, because of the simple fact that it rose up so high so fast that it makes sense it came back down. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 1-day chart first. Now again, pretty brief basic info here. Pretty normal though too when you see like an ICO or just coin being introduced to a different exchange. This is, by the way, Binance. We're using TradingView within Binance. It's only been on Binance for 5 days? Today's the 5th day. So first day ramped up, sold off a little bit. Second day, bit of both. Third day just went crazy bonkers. Fourth day, yesterday, also the same, but massive retrace. And today's actually a green day, which is interesting, in spite of everything that's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's a really good sign. And then 4-hour chart. This is kind of what we're looking at here. RSI is coming back down. Again, very limited info, but it is under 70, which is good. And that's the first spike, consolidation, and higher highs until we hit the all-time high of $29. Retrace, and here we are today with a recent low of 1752. So that could very well be looks like it is a pretty good support level. We'll mark that here in a moment. But that's all we have for the 1-hour, correction, the 4-hour and the 1-day chart. Looking at the 15, let's see what we can find out here. RSI's recovered. Again, this is what happened with Bitcoin recently. So I mean, if you can see the last 24 hours for Bitcoin, it's like this range right here. Burger's been trying to recover and bounce back from it, but there's just a constant sell-off over the last 24 hours for Bitcoin. So I'm speculating that's a majority of the reason why the price came down, lost VWAP, and is below this support level. So let's go ahead and extend that out too. So that was a previous resistance line that we identified last time. In fact, the price is right here. It just broke out when I recorded this last, and then really blasted up, and then retrace, consolidation, retrace, and then this is right when Bitcoin did its thing. So I'm not surprised the price is where it's at right now, but I'm actually impressed with the fact that the price is where it's at right now based on how Bitcoin sold off for almost 8% total in a 24-hour period. Now I wonder what the percent is here. Let's see what that is. Well, it's 30%. So technically it's losing a lot more than Bitcoin did, but in the big picture, the price is actually still in very good shape. Try not to worry, because again, when the price comes up that high that fast, it has to come down. Usually it comes down approximately 50%, so I still think we're in pretty decent shape, but as you can see, we're kind of right in that range anyways. But good news here, let's go ahead and quickly identify this. The only moving average we can really use right now, because the 4-hour and 1-day chart are irrelevant, not enough data, is the 15-minute. And we do have a 200-day moving average kind of working as a support level right now. But the bottom line here is that the most important indicator here, the volume weighted average price, is still trading below. So be careful with your entry point. But just a note here, if you see back here, do you see these two solid green bars followed by a retrace? That happened because Bitcoin did its thing. Okay. Keep in mind, this likely should have continued up and stayed above the support level, but Bitcoin's been selling off for the full 24 hours, so that's why we're here right now. So I wouldn't overthink what's going on, because of the fact that the price should be in better shape if Bitcoin was just kind of in the consolidation and didn't have that massive sell-off. But the key here to understand, which is, just to note, taking entry at this point might be risky. Again, it depends on what kind of entry you're trying to take. But if you see here, the price is under VWAP, which is not recommended to take entry. You want to wait for at least confirmation above that for 30 to 60 minutes. Furthermore, the resistance line, previous support, now turned resistance at 2162, the price is still under that as well. So I would not feel comfortable with taking entry until the price stays above the VWAP for a little while, and or more specifically, test the resistance line and stays above. So if you are considering taking entry, just say for example you're trying to do a short-term day trade, something under 24 hours, then wait for confirmation above the VWAP, wait for 30 minutes, ensure you have two solid green bars, much like we saw right here. And again, pending Bitcoin not making another sell-off, we should see the price continue to go up. So what we do is, after confirmation, you add 20%, maybe 25% to your position, and then do the exact same thing, rinse and repeat. Once the price comes up here, if it tests and rejects on this resistance level and stays below for 30 minutes, you'd sell. You get rid of that position, you'd take your profits essentially. If it tests and raises above and stays above and confirms for no less than 30 more minutes, right? Another 30 minutes, then you can add to your position comfortably and wait for the price to continue to increase. Prior to that, you set a goal and you go into the trade knowing how far, how much you want to get into it, how far you want to make. In other words, for something like this, if it's just a short-term day trade for me, like just I want to have a position open for no more than an hour, right? Then I would shoot for just say 5%. No, actually more like 3%. So I know it doesn't seem like much, but it would be a price just like this here. So just say it bumps above VWAP right here. We have confirmation, it comes up to 3%. I would probably take my profits. And if it did the same thing above and beyond here, I would probably consider adding to another position and looking for another 3% increase. Okay, so it's really not that much when you think about it. But again, that's just me. That's me being conservative, being careful. That's why I always wait for confirmation. If you don't do that, you do run the risk of losing your profits, and I don't think it's advantageous. So just please be cautious and careful with your entry point. Another thing I forgot to mention, I apologize, is when you see that confirmation, make sure the RSI is under 70, In most cases it is, unless it gets overextended. And what's nice about the price being driven down so low, that the RSI has a lot more room to grow. So you won't see the RSI coming up over 70 unless it goes on a massive bull run, which we want, of course. But prior to that, you want to be careful and again wait for confirmation. Yeah, so other than that, I don't really see much else we need to worry about here too much. That would be my recommendation here. The only thing else, maybe what we can do is see if we can identify a resistance, correction, a support level, another support. Because kind of flying free and willy-nilly here, so let's see. So that starts at 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah, this is a good one here. I'd say this is probably a good support. Because you see it tested once, twice, broke above, and then it worked as a support level 3 times, and then again 4 and 5. So it's kind of working itself into this little channel here, but I'd be very surprised if it didn't come back down, bounce off, and come back up. But again, this is all contingent on Bitcoin, so please, before you take entry in this here, look at Bitcoin and see how the price action is moving before you consider taking entry here on Burger, because it's obviously driving the price down. So if Bitcoin, you see Bitcoin, slowly scaling up like it looks like it has been doing, it's kind of recovering, then I would say that the same thing should follow suit here with Burger. Just something to consider. But that is my 2 cents there. Hopefully you make a few cents more yourself. And let me know in the comments below if there is anything else that you want me to cover moving forward. I know this is kind of a unique one because the price action is kind of strange, but anytime we have that kind of sell-off with Bitcoin, a lot of different currencies, altcoins, have a tendency of reacting strangely, so it's important to know where they're both heading and where they're both at. All right, well, hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next video. You take care. Thank you.